Coming up on Look Today, well, Saratoga Springs City Center released a statement in response to a press conference that was held by the owners of the Mouzon House restaurant. I've got details. Plus, we have more updates regarding Shelters of Saratoga and the proposed Code Blue shelter. More on that coming up. And we speak to the Commissioner of Elections about the importance of going out to vote. I've got those details. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone. I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program, I sit down with John Aldrich. He's a lawyer with the firm Bond, Shenick and King. And he's here to talk about how the proposed tax plan could affect people in our communities. This is part one of my interview with him. I also sit down with Bob Turner and Gordon Boyd. Now, they're members of Saratoga Springs City Charter Review Commission. And they're here to talk about the process as we get closer to Election Day. Now, this is part two of my interview with them. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, in response to a press conference held by the owners of the Mouzon House restaurant in Saratoga Springs, Saratoga Springs City Center has released a statement. Now, the Mouzon House has filed a lawsuit against the city for proposing to build a parking garage adjacent to the restaurant. Well, the statement from the City Center details that the owners of Mouzon House were made aware of the possibility of a construction of a parking garage way back in 2005. Now, they were made aware of this when they purchased a parcel of land adjacent to the proposed construction. Now, they stated that they would not oppose any such construction at that time. Well, we spoke to Ryan McMahon. He's Executive Director, City Center, about what this means for the city.
What that means on the highest level is that the Mouzon House and several other parties have started litigation with the city and with City Center, primarily the city, to defend their actions and how they wanted to develop the property.
I'm sure there'll be more on this in the coming weeks. All right, in other news, well, Shelters of Saratoga encountered issues regarding proposed location for the new Code Blue shelter. Now, the new shelter was to be scheduled to be built behind their main headquarters. However, residents from the neighborhood filed a lawsuit. Now, the issue is back in the hands of the zoning board, and consequently, the construction of the building has been delayed. Well, the Code Blue shelter will continue to operate from the Soul Saving Station on Henry Street. Well, we spoke to Mike Finocchi. He's Executive Director, Shelters of Saratoga.
Well, we obviously have to go through the whole judicial process. You know, it's, again, remanded back to the zoning board, so we have to wait. That's going to be open to public comment again, okay? And then we have to wait for their vote. We see what happens there. And then after that, you know, we're meeting as a team later this week with our attorney to see what the next steps will be.
Well, I'm sure there'll be more on this story as well in the weeks to come, and we'll keep you updated. All right, switching from news to weather. Temperatures are declining. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night is the first night that the Code Blue shelter will be open. I'm hearing that the high temperature for Friday is going to be in the low 30s. Can you imagine what it'll be overnight? All right, let's see how the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponser with your first look weather update here on Look TV. We currently have low pressure over the Ozarks with that cold front now making its way through portions of the Mid-South into the Atlantic seaboard here in the Northeast. So that means that cold front is moving through our area. Then high pressure is going to build back from the west. Temperatures across the region, a few 20s and mainly 30s across much of the area. 30 in Albany, 35 Boston, 27 in Burlington, Vermont. Towards the Capital District will be around freezing across much of the area, maybe a few degrees below freezing. 30 in Fort Edward, Glens Falls will see a low of 30 degrees. We'll see colder temps as you head towards elevation, towards Johnsburg and Parsville. Partly cloudy, north breeze at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then we'll see a few clouds, partly sunny back in the mid 40s for our Tuesday. We'll see seasonally chilly conditions under partly cloudy skies as you walk out the door. Prepare for temperatures generally lower to mid 30s with wind chills generally around 30. Extended outlook. We will see temperatures warming back up to the mid 40s once again for your Tuesday and Wednesday after morning lows below freezing, especially Wednesday morning. And then we'll see a rebound by Thursday, 50, but then a next cold front comes by the area later in the week. No precipitation chances at this time, just colder weather, just 30s for highs for Friday and Saturday. 30 the overnight low Friday, but be prepared for a morning low of just 16 degrees on Saturday. We'll give you further details as we get closer to that date. That was a look at your first look weather update. I'm meteorologist Clarence Ponsler. Now I send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks very much, Clarence. Okay, back to the news. Well, Election Day is coming up tomorrow. It's important to know who you're voting for and what they stand for. Now, as you know, it's up to us, the citizens, to elect our officials and pass referendums. Now, there are over 120 polling stations within our own counties, so you can find the nearest location on the Board of Elections website. Well, we spoke to Bill Frucci. He's Commissioner of Elections for Saratoga County.
Every vote counts. We have had some very close races over my career here at the Board of Elections where certain things have come down to one vote. So it is absolutely important. I believe it's everyone's due diligence. It's the democracy that we have here. It's a safeguard for our future. And I wholeheartedly wish everyone would go out and vote tomorrow.
Boy, I could play that soundbite over and over and over again. It's really important that we vote. At the end of the program tonight in the Lookout, I'm going to address my experience with the candidates that I interviewed. All right, up next, I sit down with John Aldrich. He's a lawyer with the firm Bond, Shelters and King, and he's here to talk about how the proposed tax plan could affect people in our communities. This is part one of my interview with him. Plus, I also sit down with Bob Turner and Gordon Boyd. Now, they're members of the Saratoga Springs City Charter Review Commission, and they're here to talk to us about the process as we get closer to Election Day. It's part two of my interview with them. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, join us for an interview. Then give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, now it's time for your look. Yes, that's the segment where you tell us what you're thinking. A lot of response to the elections, as you can imagine. Pros and cons on all kinds of referendums and people. It's really something. But I did get some nice feedback on the interview I did with Chuck Lamb. And it's regarding the jazz series that's premiering tomorrow night at Cafe Lena. One of the musicians, Ali Ryerson, quite an accomplished flute player, says, "I'm really looking forward to playing with Chuck's trio at the cafe on Tuesday night." And a very nice comment from Harold in Riverbank, from Riverbank. And he said, "Thanks to Sonny Bonaccio and Sarah Craig for making this happen," meaning all the renovations at Cafe Lena. "Please take advantage of this treasure within our midst." It's really true. It's an amazing place to see an artist. Okay, that's it. Please go to Facebook and tell us what you think. With the elections coming up tomorrow, I'd love to know what you thought of the elections and the referendums. All right, that's it for your look. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Monday, so we like to look ahead. One of the most talented musicians I've ever met, John Antime Miller, cellist, is coming in for an interview. We'll be presenting a concert this coming weekend. I think it's Friday night at the Strand Theater in Hudson Falls. This is one seriously accomplished musician. Habitat for Humanity is coming in for an interview. Give us an update on their store called The Restore. And Marty Vonix is coming in, who's the president of Prosperity Partnership, about the summit that's happening here in Saratoga. And last but not least, tomorrow is Election Day. And just a personal observation, I met many candidates and interviewed many people. And just a reminder, don't vote by party lines, vote by the individual and their perceived credibility and what you think of their platform and what you think of their priorities. And I can tell you that regardless of the party, that most of the people that I interviewed were very passionate about wanting to serve, had plenty of really good ideas. So vote for the individual, but above all, please vote. As national politics will prove, if you don't vote, you know what you get. Tonight on Look TV, it's beyond the headlines and tracks. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.